Molybdenum. Who's she? Molybdenum. Who's she? No, it's not a elongation of a American abbreviation of some 1990s popular recreational aid that makes you dance all night long and want to hug people. Molybdenum is a nutritional supplement, like a vitamin or a mineral. You could file this whole blog into love of wine if you wanted to. This whole video. Perhaps it's all just a conspiracy theory.
I thought I could hear the curious tone of the cornet, clarinet and big trombone, fiddle, cello, big bass drum, bassoon, a flute and euphonium, each one making the most of his chance, all together in the floral dance. As I walked home on a summer night, when stars in heaven were shining bright, far away from the footlights' flare, into the sweet and scented air of a quaint old Cornish town.
High alcohol spirits don't need preservatives. Cheap wine, especially white, but also red, does. No, let's not kid ourselves. Alcohol is alcohol, but red wine is definitely one of our 5 a day. Not 5 alcohols a day. It counts as a fruit amongst fruit and vegetables. And quite a fun one at that. But people always have to spoil it, don't they? Same as you've got preservatives in, well, anything other than fresh produce, really. Sulfites are a type of preservative, but all preservatives can be detrimental to your health. They'll give you asthma, basically.
Born from afar on a gentle breeze, joining the murmur of summer seas, distant tones of an old world dance, played by the village band, perchance on the calm air came floating down. And there was the band with the curious tone of the cornet, clarinet and big trombone, fiddle, cello, big bass drum, bassoon, flute and euphonium.
Your sensitivity to alcohol is sometimes due to a deficiency in the liver enzymes that help break it down. Sulfite oxidase is an enzyme that converts sulfites, which can be toxic, into harmless sulfates. Sulfites are everywhere, commonly found in beer, wine, liquor, soft drinks, and air pollution, sulfur dioxide. They are often used as preservatives in meat, fish, salad bar items, dehydrated fruits and vegetables, as well as pickled foods, vinegars, food colourings and flavourings. So what? Well, this means that many people can become chemically and environmentally sensitive without understanding why. You thought salad was good for you.
Each one making the most of his chance, all together in the floral dance. All together in the floral dance.
Sensitivities to sulfites are common. There are many cofactors that support the efficiency of the sulfite oxidase enzyme. One of the most important is a mineral called molybdenum. While deficiencies in this mineral are rare, there's success in using this mineral either as a supplement or as increasing molybdenum-rich foods in your diet. Science is scarce, but I know it and you know it. it's not going to be recognised. It's too corrupting. Someone's going to say you're part of Antifa. Molybdenum supplements may alleviate symptoms of sulfite sensitivities. Red wine, stuffy nose. This can occur after just one glass. My own personal research has found that, broadly speaking, the cheaper red wines with the plastic corks are more likely to be high in sulfates than the real, natural cork wines. There are, of course, wines that have sans sulfates, or sulfites are contained in this, or without sulfites written on the label, but not really bother. It's not necessarily just a stuffy nose, though. It can, your throat as well. The actual walls of the throat sort of swell up, and then the muscles around the throat constrict as well. And then you're obviously not getting mucus out of your lungs, which is always going to be there. And then all of a sudden you've got asthma, which may not have materialised otherwise. Obviously, after COVID, it's going to be more likely. Other symptoms, apart from red wine, stuffy nose, a flushed face or neck, environmental chemical sensitivities, mild swelling of the eyes, hands and feet, mild itching, I sort of know what that means, mild nausea, loose stools. Well, that's probably a slightly good thing. It's part of your 5 a day after all. The exact cause of sulfite sensitivity isn't known, but early studies found that many patients presenting with the symptoms had virtually no detectable blood molybdenum. Normal values are from 10 to 100 ppb, parts per billion. In addition to molybdenum being a cofactor for the ample production of the sulfite oxidase enzyme, it's also a cofactor for the production of xanthine oxidase, which efficiently breaks down proteins. The aldehyde oxidase and aldehyde dehydrogenase is a key to the breakdown and detoxification of alcohol. So, molybdenum, we like her, we want her in our bloodstream. The best way to ensure that you are meeting your molybdenum requirements is to include beans into your diet. They're not only a high source of fibre, they're one of the highest molybdenum-rich food groups. In particular, mung beans come in second place after soybeans, which I suggest limiting the consumption of if you don't like flatulence, farting, bottom burps. High sugar content Heinz 57 in rich sugary tomato sauce. It's better than nothing, I suppose, but it's going to have a lot of preservatives in it. Ayurveda, Ayurvedic massage, it's a whole health kick. It tends to suggest split yellow mung beans are the easiest to digest of all beans and have certain high anti-gas and anti-flatulence factors. Traditionally, the yellow mung beans are split by hand in order to remove the husk, combined with hand-dehusked long-grain rice and cooked with digestion-boosting spices like ginger, cumin, coriander, fennel and cardamom. It doesn't have to taste as foreign and exotic as it suggests. It's claimed that the Ayurvedic superfood, kitchari. In certain parts of India, kitchari is still used today as a first food for babies, as well as nourishment for weak and the elderly. Soybeans, mung beans, lentils, all beans really, legumes, peanuts, oats, walnuts and almonds. But the highest molybdenum foods are also high in phytic acids. Phytic acids are anti-nutrients that protect grains, nuts, seeds and beans from bacteria while lying dormant through the winter before they sprout in the spring. Some people have difficulty digesting these foods, and this may be a link to inadequate absorption and underutilisation of molybdenum. For some hard to digest phytic acid rich foods like wheat, grain, beans, nuts and seeds, you can reboot your digestive strength. Removing these foods from the diet may be causing insidious deficiencies of our heroine in this video, molybdenum. We haven't got to the end because there's salvation. You can get your bit of molybdenum without the phytic acid and the farting. Basil, parsley, cow liver, chicken liver, favourite of mine, kale, favourite of mine, green beans, yes, cucumbers. I quite like cucumbers and roasted peanuts together. It's quite handy when you're driving. Milk, tomatoes, romaine lettuce, eggs, celery, carrots, fennel, yoghurt. You can go to the health food store and get some molybdenum, but when it comes to milk, go for the full-fat milk that preserves naturally better for longer, and there are some preservatives put in semi-skimmed and skimmed milk, which is counterproductive really, isn't it? Herbs and fresh vegetables. And slightly better quality wine. That's what I'm going for. I'll let you know how it goes. Once again, experimenting on myself for you so that you don't have to. Cheers.
못한 태도 간열린 몸에 쓱 가려진 볼륨은 두 배로 거침없이 치킨 굳이 보진 않지 black하면 pink 우린 예쁘장한 savage 원하던 대놓고 뺐지 너무래도 칼로 무배기 두 손엔 가득한 fact-checks 궁금하면 해봐 fact-check 눈 높인 꼭대기 물 만난 물고기 좀 톡해 난 toxic 유혹해 I'm foxy 두 번 생각해
Sulfites, you get them in lots of other things as well as wine, but not to be confused with sulfates, which is what makes cleaning products frothy, so that it cleans better or makes you think it cleans better. Sulfites are added in, but they do occur naturally as well, and they bring out more and preserve. But over a period of extensive research, I've decided that you want to get rid of the sulfites out of your wine. Better quality wines emphasise that they hardly have any in. They emphasise that not having any in emphasises the terroir, their own particular vineyard terroir. That of the grape and the performance of the grape on land. Sulfites in wine has been compared to MSG in Oriental food. I don't know if that's quite fair, because MSG tends to make things quite Moorish, doesn't it? Sulfites. Well, fragrant wines are few and far between anyway, but I think you can sort of smell wine that's got sulfates in it, or not. It's like a masking type smell rather than anything particularly discernible. It's not like sulfur dioxide coming from the bowels of hell or anything. You smell the wine, but you can't really catch it. It's almost like something's blocking the scent coming through, and I think that's the sulfites. Carbon dioxide, is it really odourless? If I say the sulfites are ever so slightly chemical smelling, it's not the chemicals smelling like those people that do chemicals. When it's sweating out of them, perhaps the next day or same day, they smell of the chemicals being sweated out of them. Alkaline or acid, whatever it is. In England, there's no wine that's under £5 a bottle anymore. In Portugal, there's a lot of offers in supermarkets. 70% off, 50% off, 30% off for a few of them, but 70% off a bottle of €7.99 wine from the Douro Valley, for example. Or there's the full chorizo and crisps, nibbles to accompany your wine from the land of Don Quixote. Extremadura. Do you think that sulfites are going to preserve you in old age, the same as it does the wine? Nice thought, but unlikely. Do you think it might affect you the same as the old man losing his mind slowly, looked after by trusted Sancho Panza, that Don Quixote fella? You never know. You don't need them. Get rid of them out of your wine. It's not elegant. There are elegant rubbish solutions to oxygenate your wine. fancy spirally things that put a few bubbles in, like those straws that you used to suck up your flavoured milk in the summer as a child. Perhaps just leaving it in the glass or in the bottle is an optimum time for letting your wine breathe, but it's not the same thing. It doesn't really get rid of the sulphites industriously. 1% of 1% get allergies to sulphites, but who's telling who what happens could easily be much higher and reported, couldn't it? It's not doing anything. It's not like nitrous oxide, it's laughing gas or something. It is controlled, but is the food industry that needs preservatives really going to hype? It's going to hide if its trusted go-to cost effectively hurts people or not. I found the Portuguese wines that I had for a similar sort of price to the French wines that I've had, and certainly the cheapest supermarket quality, not cheapest, but you know what I mean, the cheapest reasonable, had discernibly less sulphites in them. I didn't get well, I'll get to the point. I don't think I'm the 1% of the 1%, but I've had a lot of this one French wine brand that comes from a German supermarket. About £1.20 a bottle. There's the same brand wine in the same German supermarket in England for £5. Perhaps it's because I've had so much of it over recent years, and I thought it was perhaps because I was overeating, but it is almost like an asthma response that you get so full, and I think because I've had so much of these sulphites, I start wheezing of an evening and it goes into the night. Now, you can get antihistamines. I haven't tried crushing up an antihistamine tablet and putting it in the wine. I should try it. For you, I should experiment on myself like this, shouldn't I?
보란듯이 무너졌어 바닥을 뚫고 저 지하까지 엊그처럼 잡겠다고 저 높이 두 손을 뻗어봐도 다시 캄캄한 이곳에 light up the sky 네 두 눈을 보며 I kiss you bye 실컷 비웃어라 꼴조니까 이제 너희 하나 둘셋 How you like that? You gon' like that? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. How you like that? How you like that? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
But it's going to make you sleepy, and I like a little pick-me-up effect of the first little bit of euphoriant when you have the wine before your food with a bit of nibbles. I've shown you a bit of the whisking, and it's a bit repetitive to show you much more, but I might do another time because it's quite good fun watching it, don't you think? It's beautiful if I can get a good enough quality camera. It's almost like the absinthe alchemy of Pernod turning cloudy with water. You might say it adds a bit of ceremony to the wine drinking process, but it is a little bit tiresome. You have to go on for quite a while, I think. In the extensive research that I've done for you, nasal cavity closing thing on each side, and the wheezing in the chest. I still tend to breathe out as I'm sucking the wine into my mouth. That's limiting the intake, but a good 2 minutes of whisking to a good, generously poured glass of wine adds a bit of extra health to what is already a healthy product. You might argue that the whisking is a little bit of exercise, as well as the vitamins and fibre that you get from the glass of red wine. It's always red wine for me because I never get a hangover. Now, I don't want to seem like it's not boasting, it's not stupidity, but very occasionally a bottle and a half in an evening, just all for myself. I feel a bit subdued in the morning. But I think it's a bit of propaganda. When people say they've had a red wine headache, I just think it's a nonsense. The wheezing thing, the slightly asthmatic thing that I've been talking about, I've dealt with that with taking an antihistamine before I go to bed, and it's been fine. I think it's partly that the antihistamine helps you sleep, I suppose. You might never wake up. But in my research for you, I can say that I always have woken up after. I'm not going to do any naming and shaming, as you might have realised. I'm not a troll. In Portugal, in the Douro Valley, port has always been a way of getting that little bit more out of the grapes. there's the mash on top. I do think adding the sulphites is possibly a way of getting a little bit more into the mass market that is losing money for French farmers, like wool for wool farmers, after that last mash, after the best has been drained off the oak vat. Don't be intimidated by snobby wino attitudes. Wine aficionado, they probably like to be called. You might look a bit daft whisking your wine, but it does so much more than filtering it through a gauze or something. I've always had pleasant thoughts while I'm doing it. Just a simple wire whisk means that you can afford a wine, a nice wine, that you can then actually get more of a fragrance from, actually, rather than not being able to afford wine. As often, anyway. Give it a go. Today has been a little plea to go SO2 free. A how-to video on how to drink wine. Don't get contaminated with his tannins. Give it some head. Don't give histamines the chance to get up your sinuses. Most fruit juices have it as well, but you drink those in smaller quantities, don't you?
And suddenly I saw such a bustling and prancing. Then I saw the whole village was dancing in and out of the houses.
Oh, almost forgot. This is Campo Maior. The small towns and villages are definitely the best bits of inland Portugal. No one ever goes to inland Portugal. They go to the Algarve, Lisbon and Porto, and you're lucky if people stop off along the coast. It's not far from that Game of Thrones town Caceres. Even closer to Badajoz, is it? With obvious exceptions. The inland towns inclined to disappoint, I would almost say, but the villages can leave you quietly transfixed, wanting to spend the time there. But you'll need a designated driver.
Every boy took a girl round the waist and carried him off with tremendous haste. Whether they knew one another, I care not. Whether they cared at all, I know not. But they kissed as they danced along. And there was the man with the curious tone of the cornet, clarinet, and big trombone. Fiddle, cello, big bass drum, bassoon, flute, and euphonium. Each one making the most of his chance, all together in the floral dance.
Natural beauty, I'm sure you'll agree. It just looks enhanced.
Ano?
We're visiting Dorset.
Tatlo.
Do you know about
Apat.
Dorset beyond
Ganda nyo,
Weymouth,
nagbibideo si ate.
Swanage,
Sorry.
Bournemouth Beach, perhaps you've been to. Shaftesbury, on the Wiltshire border, is a small market town with a fascinating history going back to the Saxon times. The town is home to a gold hill, a steep cobbled street lined with pretty cottages, made famous by the Hovis bread advert, set in the north of England, strangely, and has magnificent views over Thomas Hardy's Blackmore Vale. That's not Tom Hardy the actor, I'm sorry to disappoint. Shaftesbury is a lovely place to spend the afternoon, and around a variety of independent shops, restaurants and cafes.
Bibe. Bibe. Ay, tatlong bibe. Nice ka. May bibe. Ayun no. Katabi ng basurahan doon. Ayun yung model. Doon ba tayo nang galing kanina?
Chunli. Hindi, doon tayo galing oh.
Ah, dito.
Ayan oh.
Door. Door.
All together in the floral dance, dancing here,
But it's summer, and you want to get out in the countryside. Durdle Door is one of Dorset's most photographed and iconic landmarks. It's part of the Jurassic Coast World Heritage Site and is an extremely popular beauty spot. An incontournable, as they say in France. A must-see. Durdle Door was created not by Disney for a film set, but when the sea slowly pierced through the limestone around 10,000 years ago. The coastline is of much international geological importance, but it was designated England's first World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 2001 and is now part of a family of natural wonders including America's Grand Canyon and Australia's Great Barrier Reef. It's accessible from above via a car park and the southwest coastal path, and short 15-minute walks from one viewpoint to another. There's more than 140 steps down to the beach. Lulworth Cove is perhaps the other wonder.
K-pop, K-drama.
영원한 밤 천문 없는 방에 우릴 가둘러 What can we say 매번 아파도 외치는 love
Lulworth Cove is famous for its beautiful beach and clear blue water, surrounded by unique geology and landforms, including Lulworth Crumple and Stair Hole. The very informative visitor centre is worth explaining the geography to you. It makes geology interesting. Lulworth Cove is one of the highlights of this Jurassic Coast. Durdle Door is just a 10-minute drive away, or a breathtaking 30-minute walk. Along the coastal path, Stair Hole on the way, reputed to be the inspiration for the location of Enid Blyton's book, The Rub-a-Dub Mystery.
다치고 망가져도 나 뭘 믿고 버티는 거야 어차피 떠나면 상처 조성인 채로 미워하게 될걸 끝장을 보기 전 끝낼 순 없어 이 아픔을 기다린 것처럼 아마다 잠깐일지도 몰라 우리 무엇 찾아서 헤매는 걸까 But I don't care do it over and over 내 세상 속에 너만 있으면 돼
Both landscape and building, Corfe Castle is a must-see. The dramatic ruins of Corfe Castle are situated halfway between Wareham and Swanage, when no trip to the Isle of Purbeck would be complete without a visit to the picturesque village of Corfe Castle. It stands on a natural hill overlooking the village and guarding the main route through the Purbeck Hills. It can be seen from miles and miles around in all directions. William the Conqueror in the 1000s, the 11th century, built it. One of Britain's most iconic and evocative survivors of the English Civil Wars, demolished in 1646 by the parliamentarians who defeated the royals. King Charles lost its head, but then another Charles returned, sadly. It's a National Trust property. Highcliffe Castle. Now there's a proper National Trust stately home place. 3 miles from Christchurch, Highcliffe Castle has been described as arguably the most important surviving house of the romantic and picturesque style of architecture, which flourished towards the end of the 18th century, the 1700s. Its significance is recognised nationally by the Grade 1 status on its statutory list of buildings of special architectural and historical interest. Stroll around the gardens of Highcliffe Castle. Have a family picnic in the towns, on the lawns. There's also an amazingly wonderful direct access to a wonderful sandy beach and the unspoilt nature reserve of Steamer Point. Tea rooms and scones, and other homemade cakes. If you're wanting more, enjoying the sunshine outside and sea breeze, coastal walks, Old Harry Rocks are brilliant chalk white arches, stacks and stumps jutting out into the sea and running along the ocean at Hardfast Point at the southern end of Studland Bay. Although the whole area is known as Old Harry Rocks, Old Harry refers to a single angle stack of chalk standing furthest out to sea. Until 1896 there was another stack known as Old Harry's Wife, but erosion has caused her to tumble into the sea, leaving just a stump. These chalk formations are popular with both walkers and cyclists, and this area is part of the South West Coast Path. From the rocks you can enjoy views from the water, from Poole and Dorset on boats. On a clear day you can even see the Needles, another well-known chalk rock formation on the Isle of Wight, some way away. We're urbanites steering away from urban centres today. Brownsea Island can be found near Poole Harbour, which is one of the largest natural harbours in the world. It's also accessible via boat from either Poole Quay or Sandbanks. Brownsea Island is a nature reserve owned by the Natural Trust and is one of the only places in the UK now where you can spot red squirrels, which are very scarce and endangered on the mainland because of the larger grey squirrel. Dramatic views of the Purbeck Hills, Brownsea Island has been a haven for wildlife for a huge variety of birds, including sandwich tern, peacocks and hens. There's also a cafe serving hot and cold drinks, lunches, cakes and cream teas, scones, as well as a natural play area, trails, visitor centre and daily guided tours for families with children. Thankfully none of them around to hold us back today. Kingston Lacy we might be able to fit in, an elegant 17th century Italianate mansion, 1600s this dates from, set in attractive formal gardens and extensive parkland of Kingston Lacy, another National Trust property. William John Banks, you see, was caught in an illicit act with a
So,
guardsman
naikot na natin siya.
at a time when being gay was punishable by death, so forced into exile for the last 14 years of his life.
Ron, parang mas
Travelling,
maganda
collecting
yung
art and
Ursula
antiques and
kaysa
furniture,
kay
all sent back home.
yung Ursula
He
nagkataon
had
tao.
excellent and refined taste. Rubens, Van Eyck, Titian, Bruegel, and the largest private collection of ancient Egyptian artefacts in the UK.
Hi, Zoe.
These misleadingly titled United Kingdom. It's 8,500 acres, takes in Holt Heath Nature Reserve and Bradbury Rings. I should perhaps go into all the more family-friendly and children-friendly attractions, but we started this video about wine, didn't we? You'll be drinking that wine somewhere. Why not? On a coastal walk. Don't go too close to the edge though.
Welcome to Durdle Door! Sumunod ka! Ayan na.
Mahirap pa.
Ayan na, oh, tapos na.
Balik na Durdle Door.
Durdle Door, are you there? Pose!